elements of, oh, hang on a minute, he was spotted with Dana, and WWE didn't even mention anything like that, so there must be something here because he's not on Raw. Like, if they'd have just kept that up a little bit more, and of just, not even had Heyman show up, because even that shows you it's part of the story, but just have him completely away, and there's this whole issues with, will he be there, will he not, and, some... Even if WWE did things like Triple H or Vince or whatever, when TMZ, for instance, spots them outside of hotels and they're like, well, we actually can't talk about it at the moment, we've got some problems. Filtering information out to those guys is better for the storyline than it is on their own TV, because people buy into that more nowadays. And they're like, oh, there must be a bit of element to truth because they're not on WWE TV saying it. So, but when you see the likes of course, what happened a couple of weeks ago, Matt, where Roman Reigns and Vince McMahon come out talking about it, I was like, oh, come on, this is bollocks again. I can't believe this for the life of me, that Vince is that upset with his main man. Like, that's just not going to happen. So, yeah, I mean, again, I do think they could have built it better. I think the match, though, I don't think we're going to be disappointed. I think it's going to be good. Matt, did you see the interview Roman done recently where he was asked sort of I think I've got a video of it somewhere. I'll try and put the link up on our Facebook page. But he was asked about what he would do if Brock actually decided to hit him for real like he did Braun. Did you see that video?
No, I didn't see that.
Well, it's quite funny. Roman was like, do you know what? I'd probably have to start giving it back to him. And I thought, yeah, that would be better. And that got so much publicity. I thought, that's better. Because people buy into that. Like, oh, hang on a minute. What if he did do it? Now he's heard that. And I think that's what people like, the real smart fans that sit there and just know everything, that would just throw us off a little bit, where we're like, oh, hang on a minute, there might be a bit of realism toward it. So if WWE could have just gone with one match being like that, this would have been the one. Especially with all this UFC stuff going on at the moment, and the idea that Brock might not be there, this is the perfect time to stir all that. But I do feel like they've wasted an opportunity again on this one. But yeah, it's ironic, isn't it? We are, we went to 31. We had a similar thing here, 3. Of course, it's been 3 years ago, and here we are now, Matt, where it's almost like we're going into the same scenario somewhat here, Matt, where Roman's is coming in here and Brock's on the contract end. Obviously they weren't very keen on going with Roman last time, but was a huge statistic come out this week, Matt, was that Roman Reigns, if he headlines, I think, this year's WrestleMania, and when I mean headline, I mean go on last, he will, I think he crosses, he ties up a record of Hulk Hogan, Matt, a consecutive WrestleMania main events. And when we talk about main events, I mean closing the show. He would have done it. He would have had as many. So that does John Cena, because not even he's always gone on at the end for that many consecutive years. And I would have thought he had it done, but it turns out he hasn't. So that shows you where Roman Reigns is in WWE's eyes, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, and it also shows you, like, what other guys are they looking at to turn to.
Yeah.
So, though we have other guys that we respect and we think are great workers, clearly WWE see Roman as the face of the company.
Absolutely. Be interesting. Now, of course, the other big match, of course, is going to be AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura. Matt, of the 2 title matches, which one are you looking forward to seeing the most at this point?
You really put me in that position. I think that AJ Nakamura will be the better match, but I'm actually looking forward to seeing the other one. Does that make me a bad person or what?
I think I'm at the same with you, to be honest with you, because they're going to be 2 completely different matches. But it's nice to see It's nice to see both belts looking equal, because we haven't had that. I mean, if you look at last year's match, Bray Wyatt and Orton was bloody terrible. I mean, there you got the Royal Rumble winner going in a match where they're using lighting all the way through it and stupid stuff. It's a terrible match. Whereas this year, I feel like both belts have got credible matches. Like the best thing about WrestleMania this year is those 2 title matches should be at the very top, along with Oscar and Charlotte, in my opinion. Like they are the titles are the most important thing, and I'm really glad we've got the best people in those positions in a lot of ways. But yeah, it is a tough one. I mean, of course, AJ Nakamura is a bit of a rerun from Wrestle Kingdom, Matt. I'm sure you'll remember that. And I was actually watching that only this morning, actually. It came up and I started to watch that match. And they're going to have to really go some to outdo that one. But, you know, if any guys can do it, it'll be these two. And yeah, I do... The feud's been a little bit thin, just the way they've dealt with it. I haven't enjoyed the feud as much as I probably should be, but it's one of those ones, Matt, that, you know, no matter what the feud is, hopefully the match will just surpass anything and we'll forget about all that anyway. Do you think, though, with AJ Nakamura, that the WWE are going to give them license to be themselves and do what they could do in Wrestle Kingdom here?
Well, you know, if WWE want to outdo the Wrestle Kingdom match, which I'm sure a lot of fans will know about, then they will give them that freedom, because that's the only way you can get it. Back in out in Japan and that, they that's what they do, isn't it? They go out there, they pick these wrestlers because they know of their in-ring IQ and just like how good they are at coming up with things on the fly, and how good they are at hashing things out before a match. You know, so if they really want to get the best out of these two guys, you know, these are vastly experienced wrestlers. These two, between the two of them, you know, they could put together something
absolutely
phenomenal.
Yeah, hopefully will be that good. Now, the triple threat match, the Intercontinental one, I think we spoke about this before we went off, that this potentially was going to happen. It has been placed, and I was really big on this match, Matt, until SmackDown duplicated that match in a US title match, and I was like, really? 2 triple threat matches for the middle class titles. For me, it just rivals each other in the wrong kind of way. Like, I don't know if I was going there, if I want to see 2 lots of triple threat matches for the same sort of title, you know, same sort of the amount of heels and faces in each. Like, it's just too the same. I just wish one of them may have been even a fatal 4-way or just something different. I hate the idea that they just basically ran with, oh, well, we'll just go with 2 triple threats and that'll be great because one on SmackDown, one on Raw. I just think that one of them is going to be always going to go down much lesser than the other when you do this, which is unfortunate. And it'll probably be the first one that comes on will probably be the better, because by the second one, fans will probably be like, oh, here we go again. And you'd have to really change the style. That's the thing. If they change the style completely, you'll probably get 2 good matches, but I doubt they will. And I've got a feeling they're going to go with the same formula here. But Miz, Seth, and Finn, Matt. You know, Seth and Finn in particular, they haven't got a lot going on. Probably perfect for them. Miz, you know, 100% top of the bill at the minute. A great performer and another great year for WWE. Been very consistent with the company. Is that something you're looking forward to with both these? I mean, and the US with Orton, Bobby, and now, of course, Jinder Mahal, which I know will please our Indian fans. But is this good for you? I mean, Orton's shoved in there, sort of like, you know, it's one of those bits you just think, well, they didn't have nothing for him then.
I don't know. It's one of those things where Orton needed to become a Grand Slam. You know, he's been in so long. I'm surprised it hasn't already happened. So it was good that happened. I just feel that would have been better to be an achievement at Mania. I don't know why they went with that at Fastlane. I feel like now it just feels like it's a foregone conclusion, you know, at WrestleMania that Randy retains. Otherwise, he just looks weak. You know, giving up the title in 2 or 3 weeks. So I can't really see much changing there. So I feel like that would have been a better achievement at WrestleMania. But, you know, as far as the Raw one goes, you know, I just feel like it's a position now where Miz is a great Intercontinental champion, you know, and that's where he deserves to be and to carry that title the way that he does. It's just the other 2 guys I'm thinking, why are you in that division? Why are you squabbling over the Intercontinental title? You know, surely you've got bigger aspirations. I mean, I'm not dissing the Intercontinental title. I love that title. I think it's the workhorse title. But, you know, these guys have already proven that they're beyond that level.
No, I'm with you there. I mean, you know, as much as I'm moaning about having 2 triple threat matches, I get it's any other year, especially years before when we had the Money in the Banks and those 6 probably all 6 of these would have been in something like that, which I probably wouldn't have liked either. So at least they're in something for titles. At least the Intercontinental and US title being defended at WrestleMania. I guess that's something positive. Now, going to the women's side of things, Matt, of course, the Raw women's title, Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax. I got to say, you know what, I'm talking about build-ups not being that good. I've actually enjoyed this one. I think this has been one of the better ones. As far as logic, as far as, you know, depth to story, this is something that they've done half decent with Nia and Alexa Bliss, and makes perfect sense for these two to be going at it at WrestleMania. What's your thoughts on that one? Of course, we've got it now, and you know, people were debating, could it be Oscar? I was kind of glad that it went the way it did with all that. But Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax, Matt, you know, a match you look forward to, maybe for a Nia win, possibly?
Yeah, actually, I mean, it's been on the cards for quite a while now, hasn't it? I mean, they've been using this angle where, you know, she's been sort of at Bliss's side, but we could all tell that it was, you know, not for good reasons, that she was being kind of used. So it's that good karma story, isn't it? When you come around, it sort of bites you in the butt in the end. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think there was a time when we was all kind of worried about Nia, wasn't we? Like, she wasn't getting her due kind of respect from the company, that she was kind of being a little bit misused and losing a little bit too often. Or, you know, someone of her size, she stands out a mile from any other woman in that division, because, you know, you look at her and you think, you know, she could really do some damage to that division if she wanted to. So I think it's good that she's getting that recognition now. It's much like we always compare the Big Show, a guy of that size and that stature who could never really get the job done. You know, it doesn't really tie in well with what you want to portray as realism. So, you know, I hope that she wins, because, you know, she deserves it.
Yeah, now, of course, on the other side of things, we now know Asuka chose Charlotte as her opponent at WrestleMania. Now, on paper, Matt, this looks like an incredible match, doesn't it? Jimbo, Wrestler Squad number 9, he's gone even one further. He thinks this should be the main event of WrestleMania, which is a huge statement, isn't it, that? Now, we know WWE are very much all pro-empowerment is the word they keep using now. I don't know if you've seen that 24 episode they've done recently, calling it empowerment for the women. And of course, it's a year of firsts all the time. But are WWE that keen that they would close their granddaddy of them all, or would it be grandmother of them all, I guess, and have the women on at the end? Or do you think that's a little bit ambitious from Jimbo there?
Well, you know, I'd like to see it one day. I think, you know, if it was Ronda Rousey versus Asuka, which possibly, I'm going to throw out there, will happen next year at WrestleMania, then that would be a high possibility, because, you know, with a year of building Ronda Rousey up and then Asuka maintaining her undefeated streak, that is, you know, WrestleMania main event worthy. I think realistically, though, I'd love to see this go on the match before the main event, because we all know, you know, WWE, they're not going to go that little extra distance and put this on this year, because we already know they're running hard on Roman.
Yeah. The problem is with this is I can see. I don't know where it would be positioned on the card, but I hope it's not just a filler either, like just something in between two big main events. So it is difficult to know where is the best spot for this, because you'd argue that it should go on a little bit earlier because fans will still be really into it, but then you don't want to disrespect it by putting it on too early. So it's a very difficult spot, because you've got two men's title matches and you've got two women's heavyweight title matches, and it's very, very difficult. And on top of that, you've got Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle against Stephanie and Triple H, so it's like, it's very, very difficult to know where that's going to go in. But I mean, yeah, I think Matt's right. I think next year Ronda Rousey, and let me throw this out as well, I think not only Asuka and Rousey, but I also think Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey is another box office match as well, if done properly, that they could get to 100%. That could also headline WrestleMania, in my opinion. Charlotte, I think, has been not greatly used on SmackDown. I do prefer her as a heel, and I preferred more of her work on Raw, if I'm honest. But, you know, there is potential, I think, Matt, because if you looked at how credible Charlotte was as a champion, you know, 12 months ago, she was right. I said at the time she was the most credible heavyweight champion WWE had at that time, because of just how she carried herself. And that's the sort of build you need. But I would prefer Charlotte to be the heel. if you're going to go up against Rousey in that thing. The only hard thing would be between Oscar and Rousey is the feud